Welcome back to your Feel Good Breakfast Show. Absolutely blown away by Beatenberg this morning and DJ Clock. What a great way to get our Wednesday going. Now, as the saying goes, all you need is love and a cat. And today we have vet Dr. Tanya Schoeman, who's also an internal medicine specialist, in studio to answer a few of the questions that our cat lovers and cat owner viewers had about cats. Now, I've always loved both dogs and cats, so I'm sorry, Bob is trying to be magnanimous here and say, I don't mind you guys talking about cats briefly. Doctor, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
So I'm going to paraphrase these questions because people really are into their pets and they've given us quite long descriptive questions here. The first comes from Tanya West. She is asking, or saying rather, that her cat, her Beagle cat, B-E-G-A-L, Beagle, cat refuses to eat dry food, biscuits, those sorts of things, is eating chicken necks and wet food on a daily basis now. Is this unhealthy? How can she get those vital, fresh nutrients into her cat? What do you reckon?
Well, being a Bengal, I totally understand Tanya's point that she is probably very spoiled. But unfortunately, eating something like chicken exclusively isn't very balanced. And as the saying goes, a balanced diet creates a healthy, long life. So she also mentions in the email, if I'm correct, that the Bengal sometimes eats pouches.
Yes.
So what I suggest she does is find a few good quality commercial pouches or tin foods, that there are so many good products on the market, and try and introduce that exclusively. So try and wean the cat off the chicken eggs basically slowly over a period of time, but then bring in the pouches or the tin food, which is much more balanced, and that will be absolutely sufficient.
Just thinking of the smell in that kitchen, eating chicken necks every day. Then our next question comes from Dawn Kenworthy. She has a Maine Coon, a beautiful Maine Coon, 1-year-old. Does she still have to give him kitten food, or can she move on to adult food?
Well, Graham, I understand why she asks the question, because Maine Coons are giant cats. I mean, they look like lions. And it is very common to think that their bone structure might need special attention compared to smaller cats. But the truth is that all cats, regardless of size or breed, reach maturity in their bones by about 12 months. So now it's the exact right time to switch over to adult food. And if you carry on feeding it kitten food, it might be too high in phosphorus and calcium. So you do want to switch to adult food at this stage.
Very good. So, Dawn, your intuition was spot on. Then the next comes from Michelle Bunce, and she's outing her sister here, saying that she's got an 11-month-old kitten that's recently been sterilized and that he's picking up a lot of weight. Is this normal? Do they have to adjust the diet once that sterilization has happened?
Absolutely. Once an animal, or any species, I would say, is
okay, Bob. It's all right, boy. It's okay, boy.
Is sterilized, the metabolic rate in the body changes completely. Okay. And this can happen within 48 hours.
Sure.
So the requirement of the body drops with as much as 30% most of the time. So it is really important to adjust the amount that you feed. And a good recommendation is to feed a commercial diet which is made for sterilized young cats. So there are many of them on the market. And then to start feeding that, but always keep in mind the amounts that you feed as well as exercise. And unfortunately, it's easier to prevent the weight being picked up than to try and lose it.
To take it off, yeah.
Yes.
We can't all stay as trim as our
and
bodies.
unfortunately, obesity predisposes cats to lots of diseases, like heart disease, skin disease, diabetes. So it's something that you don't really want there.
Just like humans.
Absolutely.
Then our next question comes from Cecile Kuhn. She's saying that her cat got sick a few years back. Her vet told her at the time it was his liver, or her liver rather. He immediately said, I need to put my cat on Hill's LD diet. And she was wondering how she would first afford to be able to keep her cat on Hill's diet, with it being a premium brand. But she is also commenting that it has brought about a massive difference, that his health, or her health rather, has improved. It's even improved the personality of her cat, which speaks volumes about the holistic health of your cat and keeping it on that one diet plan.
Absolutely. What happens with liver disease very often is that the liver cannot digest the toxins produced in the body. And these toxins often affect the brain. And it comes about as behavioral problems or behavioral changes. So the cats very often become dull and lethargic and not very reactive. And because she's now put it on the right diet, which looks after the liver disease, these toxins are now being taken out of the body. And brain science have been taken away. So the cat's real personality has actually come back, which is fantastic to see how well a diet actually can work.
So it gets to be happy. I love that.
Happy, yeah.
That's very sweet. Now, I've got one last question. I'm going to be a little bit self-indulgent here because a lot of my friends have cats. My one mate has got a very old cat. I'm not going to say just how old, but really starting to look like a bit of a stuffed animal, very scruffy. How can we look after our cat in that stage, in those final stages? Is it just a matter of course that they are going to degrade? How do we look after them in their older years?
Yes, and it is understandable that cats lose a bit of their condition when they get older, but it's also very important to understand that there are lots of diseases which can come about very slowly, and people can interpret it as being an old cat, but the cat would actually be sick. So a lot of times these cats actually start eating more than they used to, and people are saying, well, I know it's losing weight, but at least it's eating, which is not a good thing because that eating might be a sign of disease. So diseases like diabetes or an overactive thyroid could very, very often cause them to lose weight and start looking very scruffy and thin. If the cats aren't eating well, then you can think about things like liver disease or kidney disease, and ongoing kidney disease is very common in old cats. So I would really suggest that any old cat that loses weight has a visit to the vet to have a proper checkup.
I think that's the watchword here. In every case, if you notice an anomaly, something changing, speak to your vet. And also ask questions about the diet that's required for that stage of life. Doctor, thank you so much for joining us. I could see Bob was like, okay, this is enough talking about cats. Bella's still bright as a spark. But thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Resource. What an absolute pleasure. Well, we know what to do. Use a little bit of common sense. Take care of your best friends out there, be they feline or canine, and make sure that you are approaching their health holistically. Well, we are approaching our health holistically this morning, but looking at the naughty side, and we have been exploring the wonder, the magic of microwaves.
Discover the brand recommended by vets worldwide. 100% satisfaction guaranteed or your money back. Hill's Science Plan.